Good morning. Aloha. Aloha. Ooh, you guys get it. You're awesome already. First of all, it's an honor and pleasure to be here in front of our future leaders, and that's exactly what you are. I have 40 minutes approximately. We can go faster if you guys want. You just go like this and I'll go faster. But I'm thinking to myself as I'm driving out, I think, how do I identify with this young group of our future leaders? You know, some old guy coming up here and talking about it. And then I was driving through here. And by the way, I used to drive through here every day when I was a young kid. I surfed professionally for about 12 years in the North Shore. I'd come out every winter and stay at the pipeline, and I'd surf all the tournaments throughout Hawaii. So I thought to myself, how can I identify, because I have a feeling a lot of you love the water, you love the ocean, love being on this beautiful island. This is probably the most beautiful part of the island, is out here on this side. So it was amazing to be able to drive on that road and come out here and be with you folks today. So I look forward to it. I have a lot of information here, and I like to keep it open. If you have any questions during, feel free to do so. If you want to wait to the end, we can also do that as well. You guys notice that we wore the colors? Did anybody notice that? Okay, just small detail. So anyway, I just a little bit about myself. I was young once. You know, this is not photoshopped. I mean, hey, you don't have to laugh. You can have fun with it. But, you know, I was your age, well, right about this time right here. It wasn't always this way. I didn't Photoshop this because we didn't have this back in 1967. This is the very first Dewey Weber surf team in California. That's me at about 14 right there. Got ranked number 10. And so that was kind of my background. I was lucky I moved from surfing, and I was very fortunate. Much like you, I was at a point in my career where I'm thinking to myself, what do I really want to do? And this really helped me guide, kept my moral compass straight, and allowed me to travel where I could surf in Hawaii every winter for 3 winters. I could go surf South Africa, Australia, New Zealand at an early age with my team. So you're still laughing, and so I'm at about 21, 22 there, right there. So I'm going to show a video that really, we did it for our global summit last year. And you're still laughing. I know it don't look that way anymore. It's a few years ago. That's like 5 years ago. You know, it's amazing what 5 years will do to you on this job. So, but I have a video, and the video was made last year for my global summit by a young lady, Ann Kalani, same age as yourself, that worked for the Hawaii Tourism Authority, and I really asked her to. You know, we have a mission statement which I'll share with you, but just put something together that would really resonate and send the message to our global partners. We are a global industry. And you'll see as I go through the figures here. So the visuals that I'm going to show you, to me, just are amazing. I love the visuals, but what I want you to listen to is the messaging about Hawaiian culture, about the young people coming into our industry, about using technology, about using innovation, about protecting our natural resources, about creating a brand of Hawaii that the Hawaiian culture really is not only recognized, perpetuated, but embedded in everything we do. And I would tell you, and people get mad when sometimes I say this, but I mean it, if I had the Vatican out here, or I had a Golden Gate Bridge, or I had a pyramid, that'd be one thing for a one-time bucket list. That's not Hawaii. What we have is a Hawaiian culture, and we have that aloha spirit and that sense of place that's like nowhere else in the world. I hear it all the time. It's the thing that separates Hawaii from every other sun, sand, and surf destination in the world. And that's why we get visitors that come here at 60, 70% repeat visitors. That's a really high percentage because of what we have to offer as a brand. So we're not that bucket list once and then I'm done. We're a brand that people want to come back to time and time again. So if I might, could I go ahead and share? And please, it's about the messaging.
Together as a people, as a community, as an industry, we go forward with a mission and a commitment to finish strong. Our task is to guide the course of our leading industry sustainably, compassionately, and strategically. Our focus is balance, and we constantly strive to align Hawaii's cultural values, preservation of our natural resources, and community needs with our visitor industry objectives and economic goals. No one can share the authenticity of the Hawaii experience and connect people to our culture and legacy like those who call these islands home. Our community members stand at the forefront in welcoming our malihini or visitors to our Hawaii and perpetuating our values beyond our islands. All of which encourages our malihini to come back and embrace more of the Hawaii that we love. As we look forward to the future, we draw inspiration and appreciation from our past, our culture, our aloha, and the wise leaders who envisioned how Hawaii can be a guiding light for the world to follow. This remains our motivation steering us into the future as we adopt new trends and innovative practices for a stronger tomorrow. We are navigating this wa'a, or canoe, solely looking to the natural yet limited resources to carry us to our destination, knowing that we depend heavily on our crew members from within the community and abroad. Everyone has their individual kuleana or responsibility to contribute to the greater good of Hawaii and our collective future. The Hawaii Tourism Authority is always committed to doing what's best for our culture, our heritage, our way of life, our families, and our communities. Join us in continuing to share our Hawaii with visitors and the rest of the world.
Thank you. How'd you like it? I hope you liked it. It really is about the messaging that we're trying to do. You know, HTA is a state agency. We're a state agency that's answered to DBED administratively, but we were started 20 years ago, and when they created HTA 20 years ago, they created an entity that had certain to be run like a business. So we had procurement exemptions and other things that would allow us to compete globally in a very competitive world globally for the visitor industry. So the visitor industry right now, we did 9.3 million visitors came into Hawaii last year. Those visitors spent $16 billion in our economy. Also generated $2 billion that went back to the state to help pay for our infrastructure, our roads and schools and everything else, and generated, went from 194,000 jobs to 204,000 jobs. So every measurement that we go by had records last year. With that creates other challenges, well, I'll get to in a minute. So I answer to a board of directors, and ultimately to the governor, Governor Ige, as a state agency. Our mission statement is very, very important. It really is strategically manage Hawaii tourism in a sustainable manner consistent with economic goals, cultural values, preservation of natural resources, community desires, and visitor industry needs. Very important for us that we look as for the visitors, that we find that balance, and this is really, really important right here with not only the economic goals of bringing heads to the beds, but the cultural values which we've talked about, but the preservation of our natural resources. Where do we find the balance between visitor arrivals, 9.3 this year, what's compatible with our natural resources and the preservation of our parks, trails, coral, oceans, etc., and what is also compatible with resident sentiment. It's very, very important how the local people feel about visitors. We have 4 pillars that everything runs through these as far as everything we do, our budgets and our action plan in fulfilling our mission. Improve the integrity of the destination, ensure stable economic benefits and that we have arrivals and spend and all the things we look at coming to Hawaii, elevate our Hawaii's value perception as a brand, and strengthen HTA's reputation. I'm not going to go through all we can get this to you if you guys want it, but for the sake of time, I wasn't going to read everything on that. Hawaii's tourism, we look at ROI, our return on investment. It's not just about bringing people to Hawaii. It's not about arrivals. We don't even talk about arrivals right now. What we talk about, what's important is increasing visitor spending. If you can get a higher spend in Hawaii and you can do it with 9 million versus 10 million or 12 million, that's important to us, so that we look at the visitor spend. That generates higher tax revenue back to the state, and then creates more jobs for local residents, be it in activities, the hotels, the resorts, the travel, I'm trying to think, the airline, the access partners, in activities. So if you look at our trend from 13, 14, 15, and 16, there have been good trends, but if you look 16 and 17, we met our mission when it comes to spending. I always like seeing when spend is more than arrivals. So the spend was at $16.8 billion this year. As I mentioned earlier, $2 billion was generated in tax revenue. Job creation was up 5%. Arrivals up 5% at 9.38, and air seats up 1.8 at 12.2. It wasn't long ago we had 10 million seats coming in here. And I'll go through access in a little while. You can't drive to Hawaii. Access is our lifeblood of getting people to Hawaii. How are we funded? We estimate $545.9 million funded by visitor room tax. That's the transient accommodation tax. So you, as residents, don't pay for us. This is all paid by the visitors that come in. They stay at the hotel. They have a 10.25 tax added on as they check out. And it generated almost $546 million. Oh, sorry. We're funded, the Hawaii Tourism Authority is funded $82 million. It's been that way for years. The Convention Center, which we also manage, is $26.5. Each one of the counties, Maui, Kauai, and the island of Hawaii, each get 103 of this $546 million. And then the rest of it, $330 million, go into the state general fund. And it goes to pay for, I'm not sure what goes to pay for, but they get $330 million. So the visitor industry does really contribute. HTA funding, so TAT collections, 2002-2017. If you look at this line, you will see how we've performed as an industry, and we've continued to go up. The red line is our $82 million we get every year. We've not gotten any increases. In fact, we took a little bit of decrease this year, and then the convention is the same. But this is a good line, and as 2017 and 18 numbers come, that line's going to go steep because we've had record arrivals and spend. The tourism, how it impacts the counties. And one of the things we've tried to do is find a balance. It couldn't be Oahu-centric. We're at 80-something% occupancy already. So part of our strategic plan is to make sure that we got access to all the neighbor islands. So you're getting more direct flights to Kauai, more direct flights to Maui, more direct flights to the new international designation on the Kona airport. And so we're finding that balance. And the thing is, if you're going to have people come back year after year after year, we really try to showcase each island as having its own unique experience. You can come to Oahu one year and you can go see the big waves on the North Shore. You can zip line. You can go to Kualoa Ranch and experience amazing things. Or you can go zip line the rainforest of Maui. You can go, well, you can't do it right now, but hike the Jurassic Park coastline on the Nepali coast. And the Big Island, I don't have to mention the volcano, but that's kind of what was used to be my, now, that's obviously that's a huge concern for us, but that was a huge attraction for visitors to come to Volcano Park. So, but each island does have its own unique experience, and that's why we're trying to get the balance. As you can see, the spend is very strong. The visitor arrivals per day on Kauai. Oahu is obviously the biggest. Any given day, we have 105,000 visitors on Oahu. And then Maui is very, very strong. It's number 2. And then the island of Hawaii has also been growing, it's up 17%. Arrivals by market. Here, our West Coast domestic traveler is by far and away our largest. If you look at U.S. West, California, Oregon, Washington, the West Coast, then you go East Coast has really been climbing for us as well. And then Japan's our #1 international market, and Canada is #2, and #3 is Australia, New Zealand. And then we've opened up new markets this year with Taiwan and I believe Hong Kong with China. Yeah, all others, okay. Good. Where do they stay when they come here? They stay 55% stay in hotels, 13.5 stay in condo hotels, 13.8 in timeshares, and this is the new one right here that you guys know. It's based on technology. It's alternative accommodations, Airbnb, VBRO. That's a growing segment of accommodations, and right now 16% of our visitors coming here are going to those alternative accommodations. So if you take these two right here, though, the timeshare and the condos, those basically are traditional brick and mortar, and coming to Hawaii. But this is a growing segment right here. That's, I mean, Airbnb. It's all technology. It's probably where a lot of you stay when you travel. $80 billion company, valued at $80 billion. They don't own a hotel room. I mean, it's amazing with technology. It's a platform that's based on demand. People want it, and so it's there to stay. It's just how do you regulate it a little bit better, and they pay their fair share of taxes and a few other things like that. So, but that's a big thing. It's like technology is throwing a lot of things at us as a visitor industry, but also as you. You look at transportation, you look at Uber and Lyft and what it's doing to the traditional transportation mode. We get that a lot too. We just opened up the airports for Uber and Lyft. But again, there's a $70 billion company. It's a platform based on technology, and they don't own a car. So things are changing, and we're constantly having to reinvent ourselves, including the visitor industry. I threw this chart. I know a lot of busy. It looks a little busy, but I think it's important because if you do get into the visitors, so you decide that there's so many venues that you can go into. But say you go into the hotel side, which is really a great side to go into. I attended an event 2 weeks ago by Jerry Gibson was being honored. He runs all the Hilton hotels over here. And we did a thing for the Tim School. It was he was being honored as one of the industry partners that's done tremendous as far as giving back to the community, and well respected. So Jerry Gibson was speaking to much like students like yourself, and he said, "Look, if you're going to come in the hotel business, there's so much opportunity for you to make a career and make a living. But here's what you need to do: 3 things. You need to study revenue management. Understand revenue management. That's number 1. Number 2, understand the hospitality business. Understand how we don't say no. We make memories. We don't say no to visitors. We do anything to make them feel important, and understand the hospitality business. That's number 2. Number 3, revenue management. That's what he said, and he is exactly right. The industry is really changing, and it's opening up tremendous opportunity from every segment, be it hotels. So one of the things I've put up here is hotel performance statewide. Our average daily rate, the dark blue is 2017, the light blue is 2016. And if you go across, you'll see the average daily room rates in Hawaii have continually climbed and gone up, which is important for the business part of the hotel side. Occupancy has stayed the 3rd highest in the United States is Hawaii with occupancy, and it's at 80%. We're number 1 in the country for average daily rate. And we're number 1 in the country for average, number 1 in the country for average daily rate, and my next screen will show RevPAR. So that's a testimonial to the brand of Hawaii, and it's very important as far as job creation. This is the one, Hawaii's hotel performance. So if you look at this line right here is the average daily rate, and you can see hotel rooms in Hawaii have continually gone up. Why have they gone up? Anybody tell me? What's that? Development. What else? What would make rates go up? High demand. Demand. The demand for Hawaii right now is, you saw the numbers of record arrivals and record spend. So you have a good model in Hawaii that's been really working well for us. But you look at this right here. So if you look at the average daily rate, and then this is the revenue per available room also going up. These are 2 really strong indicators, and as you go into business and you go into this, these are things that you're going to want to look at, RevPAR and average daily rate. These two right here are #1 in the country. Hawaii's #1 in the country for average daily room rates, and revenue per available room, the blue line, is #1 in the country as well. We're in a good place right now, and it's created tremendous job opportunities for everyone. So the baby boomers kind of got us where we are. The baby boomers, my age and younger, they kind of got Hawaii where they were. They're the ones that came here time and time again. They come every 5 years, every 10 years, every 20 years, and they put Hawaii on the map and made it this huge destination. They're the ones that were sitting by the pool with the Mai Tai, and that was their vacation. Come over, decompress, let it all go. But that segment is getting older and moving on. And so how do we become relevant to the new generation, the next generation of travelers? How do you stay relevant to them when they have so many other things that they look at? They get here on their smartphone and they go, where do locals eat? Where do locals swim? Where do locals dive? And create a whole different paradigm for the visitor industry. So it's a little bit busy, and I won't go through all of it, but it's the millennial is, oh, sorry. Oh, no. Okay. The millennial was born between 1980 and 2000, and millennials represent the largest generation to date at 79 million. And there's a lot of little busy stuff here. I'm not going to go, but they 87% use Facebook or for travel inspiration. 20% use Twitter. 82% consider travel reviews important. 20% travel internationally. It's trending upwards. They like going to Spain and Thailand and Australia and to new places. They want to go places where they can get the authentic experience. And Hawaii is definitely on that map as well. 49% take last-minute vacations. 78% want to learn something new while traveling. So it's different with the millennials and the next generation right behind them. So a millennial travel trend, 60% will upgrade their travel experience by purchasing in-flight Wi-Fi early and deplaning, etc. They will post their experience on social media. 97, any of you guys identify with any of this? Anybody? Any millennials, is this the way you travel? 97 will post while traveling, 75 will post once a day. 68% will remain loyal to the program that offers most rewards. Pre-travel habits, 85% check multiple travel sites and make sure that they get the best deal. Nearly half book their travel on their phones and tablets now. 74% search for travel-related information on mobile devices. Again, they like, where are they going? Going to Europe, Hawaii, they're going to Spain, Croatia, Scotland, Iceland. So they're traveling differently. I will say, if I might just step back, I just got back from a trip to Southeast Asia with my 24-year-old. Last trip she's probably going to take with Dad. We did a biking tour, and so for 20 days we rode through Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, and Thailand. We rode 200 miles together on bikes, and yeah, it's hard to believe I'd go 200 miles, huh? So it was interesting with my 24-year-old. Anybody here 24? Anybody? You're all younger, huh? Yeah? Well, okay, she's old. She's an old millennial. 24 years old. So I'm with her, and for 20 days, all I do is watch her take pictures of every meal, every breakfast, every little bug, every little cat. I mean, that's what we did for 21 days. But they're on the ground. They want to experience that authentic experience. They could care less. He could care less about sitting by a pool and decompressing. Every day, we're out there doing something. And it was just, it was energizing for me, but it was exactly what we see going on right now.
George, can I add something real quick?
Yeah.
I think, the focus on millennial travelers is an important one. By 2020, they're projected to be the highest spending demographic ever. So there's a lot of money involved in terms of the industry. So there's certainly a focus and an emphasis on attracting these visitors. Hawaii is a different destination than it was for their parents or grandparents. But I think more importantly, it poses more challenges to us in terms of managing the destination, but also for you folks entering the workforce, because exactly what that data was saying, last minute trips, what's your booking window? That's dramatically shrunk due to technology, right? So that changes things, projections, all of that planning that takes place, all takes more effort on the part of the hotelier or the activity guys or the wholesalers. So different ballgame, completely different ballgame.
The paradigm is changing as we sit here, and it's we need young people come in and to ideate new innovation, new ideas, and stay relevant to the new traveler that will be coming to Hawaii. Generation Z, born between 1990 and 2010, approximately 25% of the U.S. population. Generation, they were open-minded, bucket list oriented, looking for off the beaten path locations. They like to travel. 29 days per year. Top vacation types like going seeing family, 56%, 51% relaxed, 45% sightseeing, and then special events. 81% said budget is a factor, so that's why they talk to mom and dad all the time, keeping them in the loop. 25% of their budget is allocated on flights. 90% of decisions are influenced by social media. Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, all those. So it is changing as we speak. I'm going to show a I like this little clip that we did to kind of just tell the story in just a couple minutes about the millennials and how they travel and how they perceive themselves. So let's see if it hopefully comes up.
We're not tourists.
We don't do package tours, and we don't buy postcards.
We make our own. We live them and eat them.
Our friends tell us where to find them, and sometimes we just happen upon them.
We follow our passions, our curiosity, not tour guides.
We collect what we want and share them with friends, strangers, or anyone who's into what we're into.
So please, don't treat us like tourists.
We're travelers,
We're explorers.
and we are on a journey to find something new, something real,
Something we've never felt before.
Good. So yeah, as you can see, I mean, I like that video because in just a couple of minutes, it really does tell you that the millennials, how they perceive themselves and what's going to be important to them. And then it's important to us is how do we respond and stay relevant to the new traveler as we go forward. I'm going to jump to another subject, and that's air service. This is amazing right here, and I don't think people realize. I mean, if we, you look at this map of the brand Hawaii and how in demand it is now on a global perspective is absolutely amazing to me. And what's really important to me on this thing is not that they're bringing people in, which they are, but they're also taking residents out and being able to go to places that we as locals never could have gone to before. It's opened up the world to us for local residents to be able to travel, and it's opened up the world to travel much more affordably. So I love this map that we can now have access to places that we couldn't go before. Imagine if there were 100 flights, 20 flights a day. How high the airfare would be, what the limit as far as scope of where you really could go. Well, this world is opened up to Hawaii residents, but it's also opened up for us to, as far as visitors to come in and experience Hawaii. New year-round access. We work on access directly, but if you look at Oahu, and I'm not going to go through all of them, but you can see Narita, Haneda, Kuala. This is first time. AirAsia X just started coming to Hawaii last year. Opened up a whole new area for us to go to with Kuala Lumpur and AirAsia X. Singapore launched 4 flights. Scoot. Scoot is the first time they've ever come into the United States, anywhere in the U.S., and they chose Hawaii to be their first stop, opening up, again, a whole new world to us. And if you look at the island of Hawaii, which this year, or last year, we got it designated as an international airport, and look what it's opened up for as far as Haneda, Kona with Hawaiian Air, Japan Airlines, Virgin America, United. Everyone is seeing Kona as just an amazing place that they want to go to right now. And It's created a tremendous job. We're up 17% on that island, and the job opportunities now on that island have been phenomenal. Maui, we don't have international, so but we do have, you see, increased access from Denver, Chicago, LA, San Francisco, again, from the West Coast. Kauai, Seattle, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Denver, a lot of these are new flights and increased frequency of access to the neighbor islands. So this is an interesting chart I thought I'd share with you. The arrow has just moved up here, and what we look at with this is rising room rates. Right now, the room rates are the highest in the country right now. It's as high as it's ever been. And so that's where we are right now. So we just moved the arrow because now we got to start looking at this cycle. So now there's people who have less money, less budget for air. They're going to have, which then lower air demand. Then airlines start pulling their flights out. So you have airline reduced capacity. Then you have fewer visitors coming to Hawaii. So now your vacancy goes up. Your hotels aren't as full. There's obviously, hopefully not job impacts on that. Lower room rates though, and that's good. So then all of a sudden they have more money to budget for air. So that increased air demand, then builds more capacity, and then increased lodging. And so that's the cycle that we keep an eye on. If you look at the arrows right now, because room rates are at the highest they've been in a long time. Okay. I'm winding down here. HCA support of, it's not only heads to the beds, as you remember, our mission statement was not only the economic side, but it was protecting natural resources, it was community giving, it was Hawaiian culture. So the three programs that we have, and Kalani manages these. Kalani, you want to go ahead and talk on this?
Sure. So roughly in any given year, we award about 120 contracts to community-based nonprofits in three primary areas, the first being Hawaiian culture. Again, it's an integral part of our life here, both as the host culture, but also to the brand. So perpetuating Hawaiian culture, practitioners, artists, musicians, all of that kind of is rolled into this first program. And that's about a 1.3 million program every year. And then the next program is Hawai'i, which is our natural resource program. So how do we mitigate visitor impacts to our natural resources? And so we work with community nonprofits to mitigate those impacts. And so that's roughly about another 1.2 million on an annual basis. And then the last program is the community enrichment program. And that one's a little bit more driven on communities and festivals and events. And so how do we try to support community festivals and events? It's small stuff. It's things like the Hawaii Book and Music Festival and kind of that sort of vibe. But also it's an important part of our product and offering a unique and memorable visitor experience. And one in which communities invite the visitor to participate and attend. And that's the kind of experience millennials are looking for, so this is an important part of that strategy in terms of giving them small, community-driven events. It's twofold, it's a win-win, right? You get to support the community and allowing them to have the event, and then also for the visitor to come and experience the event. So that's kind of our community programs in a nutshell.
You want to talk on this?
Sure.
Yeah.
So we have, again, so same thing, this is the distribution by island. Obviously, some of our islands like Oahu are going to pull more of the money apart because they have more programs happening here than, say, the neighbor islands. But it's pretty well distributed if you look at the island distribution for us. So really trying to ensure that we have product dispersed against all islands. That's in alignment with our strategic plan to move visitors throughout all the islands. And not get them all stuck in Waikiki or on the North Shore in one particular area, but to move that to areas where it's needed.
And one thing we're going to pivot a little bit this year as we go through our budget. We're going to do a little less on marketing this year because we have almost 9.4 visitors coming to Hawaii, and that's starting to create discussions about capacity issues and strain on our natural resources. And so we're going to pivot, just like I mentioned. You got to constantly change and reinvent yourself. So this year we're going to redirect some of the funding that we do in our budget more towards Kalani's department, where we're going to look at Hawaiian culture, community events, and protecting natural resources. We're closer with DLNR, with preservation of parks and hiking trails. We're going to do much more with visitor safety and things like that. So we're going to redirect, pivot a little bit where the money goes, and but a lot of it has to do with Hawaiian culture and cultural events we did. So I'm going to do a real quick video.
Can I intro it?
Yes, please do.
So the video George is about to show is part of a campaign that the Hawaii Tourism Authority, through our partner HTUSA, or Hawaii Tourism USA, also known or formerly known as HVCB, did. And what it was an intention to focus on the culture and to tell a story about things that made Hawaii unique in a way that they may not have been told before. So one of the videos was on surfing. And the video tells the story of how a board is made and how traditional boards were made out of wood and what the protocols were to gather that wood, shape the board, and then to surf the board. So there's that. There's also this video that we're going to show about navigation. How did we get here? What makes that tradition unique? We almost lost it. You know, and thanks to Papa Maupialu, we got navigation back through Nainoa Thompson and the Polynesian Voyaging Society, and we have full navigators now. And so this is one of the next generation of those navigators. So it's Kalaa Tanaka, who's the daughter of a pole navigator. And so it's really about that intergenerational connection of this, this practice or this tradition that allows us to keep it alive. And so really as a destination, I think this is a hallmark and a turning point in the sense of how we've always promoted Hawaii. We got away from the grass skirts and the teepees and all of that kitschy stuff, and we moved towards something more authentic, accurate, and sensitive to our host culture. So that's what this video is.
When we voyage, I never feel alone. I feel loved. I feel like I'm part of something great. I feel like my kupuna, my ancestors are there with me. And they're helping me get to my destination. Resailing the roads that we have always sailed. Navigation and wayfinding, that's who we are. The feeling that I have learning this is so empowering. Feeling the refraction of swells as they hit an island and bounce back. The clouds being magnetized towards something where light was not piercing through. The wind, the fishes, the birds, there is a whole story. And they're telling you where you are if you would just listen. Our ancestors were like mountaineers on the ocean. They knew how to get back home so that they could push farther and look for things that were beyond the horizon. As long as you can see a star, as long as you know what star that is and the connection that star shares with you and your direction, you'll always know where to go. The Hawaiian Islands have this mana, have this energy calling to us. You don't even need to see the island to know that it's there. There's something that transcends realms. The canoe is spiritual, and it connects us to these islands and also to our ancestors. As Hawaiians, as voyagers, we have a deep connection to our environment. And when you sever that connection, we lose part of who we are. And I don't want to do that. All you really need to know where you are is in your mind. And you'll never be lost.
Thank you very much, Chloe, for putting that together. I'm just going to wind down here with a couple more slides. Opportunity, I thought I'd throw a couple, while there are many opportunities and many challenges that will continue to come our way, just some of the ones that we see as opportunities as continue on our air access for residents and visitors, create business opportunities. We're always trying to create new business and job opportunities for our residents, increase tax revenue back to the state that really comes back and supports our infrastructure, and reinforce Hawaii's brand as a safe, clean, secure, and welcoming destination. Our challenges, this is huge right here, increased global competition. Everyone's after Hawaii. I mean, I've had meetings with Jeju Island, I've had meetings with Korea, I've had meetings with every market going, how do you guys do it? We don't share all our secrets, but we do try to, share best practices. Resident sentiment about increased visitor, that's something that's come in with the new visitor now going into uncharted areas and residential areas. hiking trails, swimming trails, that, it's important that we keep that quality of life for our local residents, so we're addressing new things with resident sentiment. Visitor impacts on roads, infrastructure, and facilities, same thing. The impact of alternative accommodations, and then visitor safety concerns are some of our challenges. Then this one right here is just to show you how susceptible global events. If you look at visitor arrivals from 1970 to 2017, you look at the trend. We had some big the recession, the Great Recession, the earthquake and tsunami in Japan, and then we take these dips. So it's very, and we're seeing it now on the Big Island. We're seeing it on Kauai, that it's very susceptible. Anything like the tragedies going on our two islands right now are really creating uneasiness with the travelers. We're getting a lot of cancellations. A lot of people are losing jobs. We now got to retool, pivot, and see how we can make sure that we get back out there and let people know that, yeah, these are tragedies that are going on Kauai, but it's in a small area of Kauai. It's not the whole island that's been rained out, and people are under the perception that all of Kauai is closed. Same thing with the volcano. While it's tragic what's going on, our prayers and thoughts go out to them, and anything we can do, we're doing for them. But at the same time, it's 10 square miles versus the 428 square miles, and people are canceling, and people are losing jobs. So this just shows you how fragile the industry is. And then I'd like to, if I could, do one more video just on a positive note, how we're marketing Hawaii for all islands. So if I could do this one video. So I'm going to end on that. I do want to do a little shameless self-promotion. That we have a global summit that we do every year where we have our 10 contractors coming in from all over the world, China, Japan, Oceania, and we have amazing keynote speakers. If you're available, October 1st through the 3rd at the Convention Center, and we're going to have amazing sessions and tracks from global tourism trends, sustainable tourism, cultural tourism. We have global student debates, which is very, very popular, a legacy lunch, and student pricing, and we'll have student pricing. And we'll have many, many more. If you want to come and network and come meet some of our industry leaders, they're all going to be there. We'll have 2,500 to 3,000 people at the Convention Center. We'd love to have you be able to join us. So what I'd like to do is open it up to any questions that you guys might have. Any questions? There, yes.
So you shared that video about the millennials and how they don't forward. And so I just thought it was interesting because I know that a lot of the locals here on the island are not big fans of the devil. So
And that's exactly the huge challenge that globally everyone's going through. And I'll come back to Hawaii, but if you look at Barcelona, you look at Italy, you look at, it's a global issue is over tourism right now. People are really traveling. And you look at, some places have tried to put a quorum on visitors coming in, places you can go, raise prices, put meters. I mean, they're doing all kinds of things, but no one has the answer. But it's something that we definitely have on our radar, that we, as the stewards of the industry, we need to make sure it's on our radar, and we're talking about it. But yeah, the North Shore, people don't want, I mean, I know it takes you a long time to drive here, and the same thing on Kauai. I'm not sure on, some of it's infrastructure, just the roads that we've got, the single lane roads. Same thing with Kauai. Kauai, when I addressed them, they were loud and clear that no more visitors, no more visitors. And there was traffic. So when I did the study, I showed Kauai had 85,000 cars. Only 15,000 of them are rental cars. The rest are residents. So what we also identified is more people are moving out to Kauai, and it's probably the same with the North Shore, a lot more residents. So it's really it's a good question, and it's a huge challenge.
I think there's a couple of other things that we can do at a programmatic level. So some of that is our messaging. Some of that is about responsible visiting.
Yeah.
So encouraging visitors to stay on trails, to swim at beaches with lifeguards. That helps to kind of reduce some of that. But I think the real challenge that George and us at HT are trying to address are vacation rentals and their proliferation in areas where they don't belong. Because ultimately that's where I think the friction is coming from. It's kind of like the bear coming into the suburb. It's kind of that sort of same feeling, and so how do we make sure that we protect the visitor experience and their safety, and that's a big part of that kind of short-term rental question.
But resident sentiment's very important to us, and that's what you're talking about. We don't need to be like other destinations where the local population does not treat residents very well, and that nobody wins on that one. We just can't. Fortunately, ours is pretty high, but it is challenge right now because of the 9.4 million visitors coming in.
And I think there's always a correlation between sort of arrivals and resident sentiment. And so when arrivals are down, sentiment goes up. And when arrivals are up, sentiment goes down. So we know there's a correlation there as well. And so kind of what George was alluding to with Kauai was like, okay, we had the flood. Okay, all right, now what? There's no visitors coming. I'm laying people off. I'm closing my business. I'm going bankrupt. What are you doing to get more visitors? So it's a challenge.
Yeah.
It's an untenable position.
It's hard to get that balance. The Zach people that were yelling and screaming at us 2 weeks ago about no more visitors, the first one's calling, going, "How can you help us, George? My friend owns such a restaurant. He's laying off 50 people. We don't want that. We don't want people to lose their jobs. We're about really creating more job opportunities." So, but it's a good question. It's something that we're saddled with, as well as it's a global issue.
And I think on a final note, I think it's important that we also have a kuleana responsibility to our economy as a whole. And although it's kind of uncomfortable, of all the industries we could have, tourism's probably one of the best. We could be coal miners, and we could be like taking out mountains and doing things like that, or we could be steel mills, and we could do other things, or ag. But at the end of the day, tourism is king for the economy right now, and we don't have those alternatives. And so we got to do what we got to do.
Yeah, I always tell people that I talk to, show me number 2. But right now, this is the economic engine, so it's very important to protect it. Anybody else have any? Yes.
Let's make this our last question.
Oh, okay.
Because students have class in 3 minutes.
Okay, sorry.
If anybody wants to stay and visit, you can, and there's a luncheon. But let's make this our last question, and then we'll
Okay.
head on out.
You mentioned that, I guess, millennials are kind of becoming the big market. So how have you, besides, I guess, the videos and Instagram and things, how are you guys focusing your efforts on getting them to come?
I'll let my millennial answer a little bit, but I do know that, for example, at our global summit, I really challenged my team to constantly, I mentioned earlier, ideate new innovation and, how do we stay relevant to millennials? So just using that as an example, and I'm going to use Expedia because I think that was really, we pioneered a thing a year and a half, 2 years ago, called facial recognition with Expedia. And what facial recognition did for us, this was cutting edge, just to kind of go after our millennials, is they could go on Expedia and they could watch a 4-minute video that Expedia put together. It had them hiking, diving, swimming, eating out, just laying by the pool. And so in a 4-minute video, And you could go on to that site and you can select if you wanted facial recognition, which a lot of millennials did. And what it would do is read 21 points on your face as you watch someone out dining at Alan Wong's or something, or skydiving or zip lining, all these activities in there. And it would watch your facial recognition, and it would be able to tell you from just watching you for 4 minutes, oh, you're a romantic. Oh, you need to, here's what you need, we recommend you doing this. Or you're an adventurous, we recommend hiking Diamond Head and going here and going there, or that type of stuff. So it was cutting edge, and it was something that nobody had, it had something 360 virtual reality too on it. Was that right? Yeah, so we're the first with 360. So we're trying to always look at new innovation that would appeal to the millennials. And you know, they travel, a lot of times they travel in packs. I mean, my daughter hasn't missed a Coachella concert in 5 years, and they go like 20 of them at a time. They travel differently. And so that's where these Airbnb and alternative accommodations are kind of coming to play. They like staying there. They like using Uber. They like using Lyft. It's different.
I think to kind of zoom out, I think first and foremost our voice has changed in terms of how we portray the destination and our marketing. The brand hasn't changed. The brand promises we make are, I guess, articulated in a different way to that audience. And so, and also it's really targeted. So if you look at our marketing and what we're doing in that realm, it's really focused on the market. And so whether we're in, say, Canada, where the baby boomers are still king, we're not looking at millennials in Canada because they're not coming. They don't have the disposable income and all of that, right? So it's all really targeted stuff. There's a lot of metadata and a lot of sort of like, okay, after your morning prayer, it's the first thing you guys do.
I'm just going to close with one other thing, is that campaign in New York. We went to millennials in New York. They weren't coming to Hawaii. They go, I don't want to go where my mom and dad went. I don't want to go sit by a pool. That's what they were saying. That's their vision of Hawaii. And so we did a thing with food and beverage, and we had top chefs from Hawaii come in and show the mixologists they weren't Mai Tais. These were creative cocktails they did for these New Yorker millennials, and the food, they couldn't believe the food coming out of Hawaii. And so it was like a 360. It went from, I'm not going where my mom and dad went, to creating an awareness and a brand for Hawaii, that Hawaii was cutting edge when it came to food and beverage and that kind of stuff. So that's a program we're doing right now as we speak in Manhattan, in New York, and we're up 4% of that market with young people.
And really quickly, because I know you guys got to get out of here. So part of it is also knowing our audience. And so knowing us as millennials, right? So first thing after I say my morning prayer, I check my Gmail. That's my first thing. And then all my feeds, right? Instagram and Facebook and that kind of stuff. So it's about being where our audience is. And so that throughout that day, we can tell you from our research what people are doing at what time of day. Like what time you're checking emails, and if you're watching cable news or you're doing whatever, where you are. So that's another part. It's just knowing our audience.
I know you have to go to class. I just want to tell you what an honor and pleasure it was coming to see you guys are as future leaders. I hope you come in and visit. Thank you.